Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, has said that the 50.44 billion naira total allocation to the Ministry of Defense in the 2025 budget proposal is insufficient to address the security needs of the nation. This is as the minister sought the support of the House of Representatives Committee on Defense to approve an additional 20 billion naira to enable the ministry to compensate the families of deceased military personnel who lost their lives in active service. The federal government allocated 50.44 billion naira to the ministry in the 2025 budget proposal, made up of 31.81 billion naira personnel, 4.90 billion naira 4.90 billion naira overhead and 13.73 billion naira capital expenditures. Addressing the committee at the National Assembly complex during the budget defense session on Tuesday, Matawale, who stood in for the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Baduru, called for the prioritization of the welfare of military personnel to enable them to give their best. We need the sum of 20 billion naira as an additional fund for payment of families of deceased military personnel. The Ministry of Defense is supposed to provide some equipment for some of the zones, but we cannot. Out of what we have in 2024, we can only provide 20 armored personnel carriers, what 20 APCs can do in Katsina alone. If we have 50 APCs, we can go inside the bush to flush out those criminals, he said, adding within 2 months we will finish the issue of banditry. I believe this committee can look into the issue of the Ministry of Defense to see how they can squeeze out additional funding for the ministry, he lamented. I would love to get your thoughts on this quickly, Honorable Aminu. What do you have to say concerning this?
Wow, thank you. That the 50 billion is not enough for the defense
and they're
ministry.
asking for an additional 20 billion.
You see, the problem we are having in this country, like, the money seems not to be anything again. You know, when you say a whopping sum of 50 billion was allocated to that ministry. Now, if not for the fact that most of these funds are not properly utilized, I believe that they can go a very long way in addressing that. Now, I learned that there was even an overflow in the subsequent year because the money was not enough. The budget for last year was not enough, and which, you see, it is high time we start taking responsibilities like a person and an organization. Though defense is a very vital and a very strategic ministry because they take care of insecurity and so many things that has to do with defending the country. But in the other hand, I wouldn't have mind if they give them. But like what I had always said, we really need checks and balances, not just giving the money. When you give out this fund, since they said, okay, with 20 more billion naira, it will be okay for them. Yes, you know, the military has done so much. Most times I look at the military men that are gone due to the insecurity, insurgencies and all that. How they've been taken care of. These people has gone as far as taking care of defending us as a people. What they really need to do is to check wherever the funds are going to. Which aspect are they using it for? Is the funds going to where it's supposed to go for? Is this one really going for ammunitions? Is this one going for the persons they are supposed to pay and all that? If that is done, then I don't think whenever you come for addition of whatever you have proposed for a budget or whatever you have been given as a budget, I don't think there will be need for much debate if it is properly utilized. So it's high time we start taking responsibility and utilize whatever we have. When it is seen and when people have known that, yes, these people have tried to an extent, I think it is even the populace that will come out and must to even protect your additions to whatever you need. So I think we need a whole lot of checks and balances, and if that could be given to them and they want to make good use of it, I think there is no problem, because the military has to do with, the defense has to do with the safety of the entire nation.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Talking about if we have to divert, I don't know if you're aware about the airstrike that killed about up to like 30 people, if I'm not mistaken, in Sokoto. We've actually had incidents twice that airstrike mistakenly killed indigents of states while they are trying to target the terrorist camp. You know, we've also heard about incidents that the federal government has bought about 12 airstrikes, and we're expecting more, you know, and all of that. You know, there's been provisions of these things that has been put in place for the military to, you know, fight the insurgents, the terrorism going on in the country as it stands. And they made mention about getting all of these funds so they can go into the bush and flush out all the terrorists. The funds that have been provided all this while, what have they been used? You talked about, yeah, check and balances and whatnot, which is true. But funds have been provided. Yes, this military, they put their life there for us, you know, to make sure the country is at peace, and flushing out, like they use in their words, the terrorists, the bandits, you know, that come in from different angles of other countries. You know, some say they are from Niger and Chad or whatnot, you know, to cause terror in the country. We commend them on that. But what is a guarantee that the 20 billion naira extra they are asking for will be enough for them to stop or reduce the insecurity that's going on in the north as it stands? You know, if we have to keep mentioning states, Nasarawa, Sokoto, and Zamfara or whatnot, you know, that has been affected, some of the villages that have been affected from this incidents, from this, you know, terrorist attacks, you cannot, you know, mention all of them. What is the guarantee that when these funds are provided, you know, the right thing will be used for them?
Like I earlier said, it's just we are saying the same thing. You know, like I earlier said, if the fund will be given to them, what we need is checks and balances. Before now, they have been given funds for them to get their ammunition and see how they can cope the insecurity. But every year they keep saying they want to get new ammunition and armored personnel carriers and all that. To me, what I think is that checks and balances. And who is going to do that? You need an independent body to check that. Not just within them. If they can create an independent body to check them, you will find out that this money will be properly used. By the next time they will come for budgeting, it will be for a different thing entirely, not just the same thing they have said they have gotten before. Because I believe that most of the funds is not even going to where it's supposed to go to. So that is what is costing.
So where do you think the funds have been going to?
We all know now. Most of these funds are going to personal pockets and all that.
So the body, the committee you might mention of that should oversee the affairs of the funds that have been given to the defense ministry, for example. What if they are also part of the system? Because this question just cuts across the system, the system, and all of that, and then you're initiating the idea of bringing in a body that will oversee the affairs of the particular, you know, Ministry of Defense and make sure that the funds allocated for those needs be utilized properly. What if they are part of the system?
You know, definitely God cannot come from heaven to help us.
True.
And, if they are part of the system, that means we'll keep seeing the same thing. We'll keep seeing the same thing. That is just the truth. And let me not just say Nigerians, God really needs to help us, but we need to help ourselves first. Let's just pray that the committee that will be set will not be part of the system, so that what we're expecting as Nigerians...
You just made mention of God not coming down from heaven to help us. Prayers, you mentioned. Why is that supposed to be put there when actions should be taken in instances like that?
The prayers, I mean, there's a way you pray and God will just touch the person.
So that's what we should be hoping.
God will just touch the minds of the people, and they will come and do the right thing instead of taking or embezzling from the proceed where you're supposed to use for something very meaningful for the commoners and the entire nations as a whole.
In your thoughts, quickly, do you think the 50 billion naira that was allocated to them was too small for the defense, Nigerian defense?
Not really. It is not too small. It is not too big. But what I'm saying is a proper utilization of the money. Even if they are giving less than that, and if it's properly utilized, I think they will get what they want. If they give more than that and it's not properly utilized, they will still remain where we are. So I just think the only thing is just like my people will say, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. So I just think a committee with people of good heart should be set in place for such things to be done, to be implemented.
Okay. Moving forward, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has dismissed allegations of excessive spendings on meals, fumigation, and other expenses in 2024, describing such claims as baseless and misleading. Appearing before the Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on Finance on Monday, January 13, 2025, JAMB clarified that its presentation was solely focused on the 2025 budget proposal. It is crucial to note that what we presented was not the 2024 expenditure, but the 2025 budget proposal, the board stated, emphasizing that no expenditure of 1.1 billion naira for feeding or 850 million naira for fumigation were presented for 2024. Regarding the 6.4 billion naira earmarked for local travel and transport, JAMB explained that the amount accounts for the deployment of over 10,500 officials for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, and mock test. The board stated that this clarifications aligns with the mandated templates for government-owned enterprises. The detailed breakdown of these expenditures was included in our submission, but we are not permitted to elaborate during the session, JAMB said. On the 850 million naira allocation for outsourced services in the 2025 budget, JAMB clarified that the amount covers the emolution of 386 security personnel and 194 cleaners engaged across its offices nationwide. The board reiterated its commitment to prudent financial management, emphasizing that all operational costs are covered by its internally generated revenue, with government funding limited to salaries for pensionable staff. Yesterday we had a discussion with a guest we had on the show concerning the JAMB, the National House of Assembly, saying that they will suspend allocation that is given to grants, federal government grants that is given to JAMB. And the question was, why would JAMB receive grants for federal governments when they have internal generated revenue? And lots of funds, were mentioned, 1.1 billion naira and 850 million naira, that were spent on fumigation, meals, travels, and whatnot. And then it just keep calling for concern. We had Adams Oshomole, former governor of Edo State, questioning, all of that and saying that why would they use so much on these instances? Well, the question is, why did they not come before now to give a breakdown of how those funds were used? Why did they wait for backlash and criticism before they can actually come to refute the claims, concerning this. You just talked about when funds are released and then they use it for personal needs. Do you think that comes in this instance with JAMB?
We have seen it all now. Now, why will JAMB be giving a grant? What is the grant meant for? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Now, this issue had to come in because maybe there is problem somewhere, like the sharing formula, one thing or the other. That was what brought about this whole thing. Ordinarily, before now, if such issue was on ground, we would have been hearing that. But I think there is something somewhere that must have flamed this whole committee to come start asking the JAMB for the whole money they've spent over time.